Well, I'm John Winfred Walker. Was born in Hope, Arkansas in 1937, June 3rd. My mother's name was Virginia Bishop Walker, and my father's name was John Wesley Walker. My grandparents were Alpharetta Sally Walker, Alpharetta Sally Nixon Walker, and my grandfather was John Wesley Walker. They were among the first African American college graduates in the state of Arkansas. Each of them graduated in the class of 1912 at Wiley College in Marshall, Texas. I started school when I was 5. Most of them were 6 or 7. And so I was the thinnest, smallest kid on the block, and probably the least coordinated, so I got excluded from things more often than other children. Of course, that's typical of young kids. The youngest is usually the one excluded the most. Then somehow or another, the school developed question and answer session. We dealt with current events, history, art, all kinds of things, and all students, irrespective of grade, were allowed to participate in that. Often, some of the lower grade students knew answers to questions that some of the higher grade students did not know. I took great pride and pleasure in, with another student named Sam Hamilton, being able to give more responsive answers to a lot of questions when we were in the 5th and 6th grades than some of the students who were in the 11th and 12th grades. So we looked forward to those all-school programs. It was clearly a segregated community. The laws were strictly enforced. Black people accepted those laws and did not challenge them. So, because we knew our place, so to speak, I mean, it was just, in order. People did various things on a separate basis. The African American people have been conditioned somewhat by a number of experiences, one of which included a lynching of a man named Brownie Tuggle, T-U-G-G-L-E, and Hope in the Depression years, or maybe during the 30s. As I understood it, he was lynched in the downtown area, and the African American people were required to just come and observe this African American person there, hanging from the post. I recall one day going with my grandfather, who was a school principal, to a grocery store. And one of those little fellows that I've been playing with all my life, I was 11 or 12. As my grandfather came through the counter to check out, I said, well, how you doing, J.W.? Grandpa didn't say anything, he spoke back and said, well, we checked him out, and, well, wrote him up because they didn't have cash registers like they do now. But everybody had a little credit, so you write up whatever and you sign. And he said something, I said, well, you can't call him J.W., that's Mr. Paul. And I remember my granddaddy holding it, putting his hand in my arm and saying, be quiet. I said, why? He's not supposed to call you by your first name. And he hurried me out of there. I then understood that white children had more status and than black seniors, who even, as my Black story was that he and the woman were going together, and when some white people came upon them, the lady, in order to maintain her standing, started yelling rape,
Mm-hmm.
and he was arrested, charged, and convicted of rape. His name was Herman Maxwell. I remember going to the funeral home to view his body, and he was the first person that I saw with a bald head. At that time,
Mm-hmm.
bald heads were not enforced, were not popular. Most people had